I want to talk about two things today that might help you in your life. Number one is mind shift, and two is lion's mane medicinal mushrooms, and how both of those things changed my life drastically and healed my body from an ailment that left me paralyzed. So back about 18 years ago, 19 years ago now, I had Guillain-Barré. And so a lot of people might not know what that is, but it's a virus that attacks the central nervous system, and it leaves a lot of people paralyzed. And so where they can only move their eyes. So you can you can watch the whole story of how that whole thing went down and how I fully healed my body in this video. But this video, I want to specifically talk about my mindset and how I healed myself through my mind and what I did and what medicinal mushrooms I took to heal my body, how they healed my body, and why they healed my body. So when I was in the hospital, you know, the first thing that they said was within 72 hours, you are going to go fully paralyzed. You are not even going to be able to breathe on your own. You're going to be hooked up to an oxygen machine. And I literally at that moment said, no, that's not going to happen. And they said, well, it's inevitable. That's going to happen. And it wasn't even an ego part of me. It was my inner part, my inner power part of me that knew that that was not going to take place. There was this absolute knowing, my higher self, my power within just came out of me. And that was a power within me that I didn't even know existed. And how I know that this was such an innate power was because I have been a person throughout my whole life that is worried about everything. I lived in a lot of stress and a lot of fear about everything. And when I was in this situation and they said within 72 hours you're going to be paralyzed and only be able to move your eyes and we're putting you in ICU, I had not one drop, not 1 ounce, not one hair of fear, not one. I knew that was not going to be my outcome. I knew that I had the capability and the wherewithal within myself to change my state, that I was able to affect my cells on a cellular level, shift my consciousness and help my body to heal so it didn't come to that. And you might say, that's crazy. But I'm here to tell you, after I had that experience, I've talked to hundreds of people and read hundreds of books. And there are thousands and millions of people out there who had been diagnosed with certain ailments or diseases and given a prognosis of, you know, you have this amount to live, and decided to not listen to that and to look at all the modalities and all the different things that we can do out there in this world, which there's infinite things to help us heal our bodies and not just listen to the doctor's choice of words. Because what we assume and what we are convinced of is what will happen and what will be. So if somebody says to you, you have 3 months to live, that's it, there's nothing you can do, and that is what they're hell-bent on believing, then that is what is going to happen. But I have seen the opposite to be true as well, where I have talked to many, many people who were told that they had 3 months, 4 months to live with stage 4 cancer, and that was 10, 20 years ago, and they're still thriving and alive and enjoying life today. So that was my case then, is that I didn't speak to anybody about this. I didn't even talk to anybody about what was going on. I just knew within myself that I was going to be okay. They sent me to the room, and this is, you know, 2005. So we didn't have cell phones. Like, I mean, some people had cell phones. I had a flip phone, but there's no picture taking or anything with it. And they gave me a portable phone and said, call your family, which they lived across the country at that time. And they said, you got to tell them that you're going to be paralyzed within 72 hours. I did not say that to my parents. I talked to them on the phone and I assured them everything was fine, that the doctors, I didn't even tell them that part. Because I knew that that wasn't going to happen to me. So I said, you know, this is what's going on. I have this ailment, you know, I'm going to be fine though. I'm going to be fine. And so they said that the tingling that was in my hands and my feet was going to go up into my lungs, shut my lungs down, and that was it. And so they said also that I was really lucky to have been really stubborn to keep coming to the doctor, because if I was left at home, if I was at home for the next day or so, I would have been dead. And again, you can watch that whole video on all the stuff that went down, and that nobody, doctors or nobody, believed me that there was something going on within my body. So I don't know to this day how I got Guillain-Barré, because they said at that time that it was a side effect to having flu shot. I never had it, never will have it. That's just me. And they actually said in the hospital, if I were to ever have it after that, then it could either kill me or paralyze me. So whatever that, you know, virus does, it's just not something you want to do after the fact. So I have no idea how I contracted it. However, I do believe on a spiritual level other things, but that'll be another video. So when I was in the midst of being in the hospital, I immediately had no fear, and I immediately went to the end of the results. So what is the end? It is where my mind went to where it was going to be when it was healed, and it was going to be healed extremely fast. I said it to myself, I am going to be healed within the next few months. I'm going to be 100% healed. And I didn't just think those thoughts, you know, like positive thoughts. No, I got into the visualization state within my mind, and I felt it in every single part of my body that I was already healed, that I was running, that I was doing front flips, that I was doing cartwheels, that I was doing the splits, like all of these things, because I was really into fitness at that time. And I was just really focused on that being my outcome, and really bringing my awareness and my attention and the feelings that I had that was already happening. And every day, because I was bedridden, I just lived in that. And I get so excited when I was like in my mind and in that place of visualizing and really being at that end result of me running and jumping and living a vivacious life of full health, and what my future was going to look like, and all the things that I was going to do, and all the people I was going to help in my life. And I literally lived that. So what happened? The other thing that I was doing is I was doing a lot of meditation, because that really centered me, grounded me, and helping me to connect to spirit, helping me connect to my whole self, to God, whatever you want to call it. You can say universal source, you can call it Jesus, you can call it God, you can call it spirit, whatever is your thing. For me, I was connecting to God, I was connecting to my whole self, to spirit, to my angels, helping me to heal. And I believe that we're not here alone, that we're always being looked after, and that we have to ask for help. So asking for help, thanking for help from the spirit realm. And I began to heal. So what happened shocked the doctors and shocked everybody, which was my lungs did not shut down. So the tingling and my arms, so I stopped being able to utilize my arms, so I wouldn't be able to hold this cup right now, but I'd be able to brush my hair back. I wasn't able to walk or go to the bathroom. I had to have nurses take me to the bathroom or to wash me or bathe me or whatever. I couldn't do any of that on my own. But my lungs did not shut down. I was still able to breathe, full functioning. So it was the first thing that the doctors were so enamored by. They're just, how is this happening? How is your lungs still in peak condition? And then the second thing is that I didn't progress the way normal patients do. So I went to a certain state, but I was laughing and joking with the nurses all the time. And I remember this one doctor that came in, and I was like, well, you know, if things don't go well, I'll just be a great Elvis impersonator, because this side of my face was paralyzed as well. And he was like, oh, don't say that. Oh my gosh. You know, and I was like, well, you got to joke around. And they were like, how are you so happy? How? And it was because there wasn't a second, not 1 ounce of me felt like a victim. Because I know in the greater scheme of things that everything has a divine purpose, even though we have no idea why. And sometimes when we're in really low or bad states, especially health, when we're going through something really traumatic, that it's really easy to say, why me? And why is this going on? But I just had an innate feeling in my early 20s still that there was a bigger vision here. There was a bigger purpose here. I didn't know what it was, but I knew being a victim or saying poor me was not going to heal my body or get me to that end result. So I didn't have a pity party. I didn't wallow. I didn't cry. I pulled this power that was within, and I pulled it up inside, and it enveloped me. This power enveloped me, and I stayed in that power, and I stayed in that vision of the end result. I meditated, I laughed, I listened to only positive things. I was listening to, at that time, I was heavily into Wayne Dyer. If you guys haven't listened to the late, great Wayne Dyer, I mean, he's got several books, you know, audio. He is life-changing, and I wish he was still around so I could meet him. But he changed my life. He was the one that I listened to mostly when I was in that state, and it really helped me a lot. And so when, you know, I wasn't meditating or talking to, you know, my brother that would come in and visit me or friends, then I was listening to Wayne Dyer CDs, because at that time, you know, we had the CD, the portable CD player. So that's what I was doing. And so I healed so darn fast. So when I say really fast, I mean in like 4 months, I was able to get up and, you know, I was moving around and I was doing lots of stuff that they were so surprised at. In 6 months, I was running. 6 months, you guys. They said it was going to take me 5 years to be able to walk properly again, if at all run. And it took me 6 months. But we're going to backtrack 1 second here, because when I was just getting out of the hospital, so at the point when I was just getting out of the hospital, so I was in the hospital for about 1.5 months, maybe 2 months, I still wasn't able to hold a potato or to function properly. And on a side note, I was going through a very, very personal struggle at home, because I was in a very horrible, toxic relationship. So I am holding my power to heal my body and to visualize the outcome, and at the same time being in a very toxic relationship where I had to take that part of my brain and not allow it to affect me. So you're pulling in a lot of personal power at that point. I was. And when I got out of the hospital, I didn't have any still feelings in my hands and my feet, and they said, you will never get that back. And my brother, who has been in, you know, the health industry for a very long time, he knew a lot about medicinal mushrooms back then. And he said, Shannon, you need to take lion's mane. And I said, okay, I've never heard of that. And he told me that it's amazing for neuropathy, helping to regain any type of nerves within the body, helps to connect new neurons in the brain, build new neurons in the brain, neural pathways. It's absolutely incredible for so many things. And so I said, you know what? I am definitely willing to do that. A very open mind, and I definitely trusted my brother. And so I started hyperdosing with the lion's mane. And you guys, in 2 weeks, I had 100% feeling back in my hands and my legs and my feet and my toes. Everything. Everything. I had not one drop of a side effect from having that ailment. Nothing. And so in 6 months, I was running just as I visualized. And within 1 year, I was doing a fitness competition, because back in the early 2000s and the 90s, people did fitness competitions where they did all these movements like backflips and handstands and, you know, front flips and all of that. And I did that. And, you know, I, against all the odds, and every time I would go back to the hospital, talk to the neurologist, they're like, oh, I love talking to you because you're such an anomaly. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. And they would always say those words, you're so lucky. And I'm not lucky. I'm not an anomaly. I used the power within. And then I incorporated really good food into my diet. I didn't eat the hospital food at all. And then I incorporated really important supplements, because against what, you know, we've been taught, or what, you know, Big Pharma is trying to make us believe, is that we 100% need to supplement in this day and age. Good quality supplements, not pharmacy stuff. Good quality supplements, because our soil is so depleted, our food is so depleted. No matter how good of a diet you have, there are supplements that we still need to take to get the vitamins and minerals into our body that we are going to be lacking in this day and age. Our soil is not like it was 50 years ago, not even remotely. So I started incorporating all of that. And then my love and my desire to learn more about medicinal mushrooms became so huge to me. And so I started to take lion's mane continuously. And some of the other really big benefits that I saw with lion's mane was that not only was my memory so much better, but when I would take it, my cognitive clarity and my focus was so on, and I was able to sit and focus for hours upon hours. It was unreal. But some of the other things that started to take place that I didn't know about was really surprising to me. And that was, I already have an amazing long-term memory, but what started to happening is every night before bed and at like about 5 o'clock in the morning, for some reason, I don't know why 5 in the morning, I would start to have memories of me being a very small child, of memories of like a random Tuesday, of like my mom and my uncle talking and remembering the whole conversation. Or it would be like a moment of like July when I was 4 years old sitting out on my front lawn and all the thoughts that I had when I was sitting out there. Like all those memories were flooding back to me. And it was happening consistently every night before I go to bed, almost like in that dream state. I would remember things, or the morning, and so many things I would, talk to my mom about, and I would be like, did this happen? And she'd be like, how would you even know that? Or I would remember things even further back when I was a year old. And I would be like, oh, I remember laying in bed with you and Dad and looking at the wall, and you guys had this wallpaper and you had this ornament on your dresser, and then Dad had this on his dresser, and blah, blah, blah. And they were just like, oh my gosh, there's no way you could remember that. I'm like, I do remember that. And then there's other times when I remember being in the stroller and my great aunt, who I've only remember talking to maybe 3 times in my life, I remember walking down a street near our home and her there and the conversation and exactly what she was wearing. I remember exactly what she was wearing and exactly the conversation that she had with me. And I was in a stroller, so I don't know if I was months old or if I was like a year or 2, I don't know. But I know that I was very, very young, and the conversation that she had and what she was wearing and everything. So all those things are happening by taking lion's mane mushroom. Now, it's really important that I make this note to you guys. There's a lot of lion's mane that is now on the market. You're hearing it on the radio, you're hearing it on TV, you're hearing it wherever marketed. We need to be really careful where we're getting our lion's mane source from, because when lion's mane or any of the medicinal mushrooms are being grown, whatever is going on within the environment, where it's like pollution wise, they're going to absorb that, or whatever's going on in the environment, they're going to absorb it. So it's really important to get a good brand where it's organic, it's non-GMO, it's, it's not from different parts of the world where, there's exposed to a lot of radiation or high pollution. So that's another really big key factor. How it's extracted is really important. I will tell you, for the last 15 years, I've been using Purica. I absolutely love that brand. It's micronized, so you need less to get more of the effect of it. And also some of the other absolute important benefits of lion's mane is that it helps to heal and repair the gut. So that is another beautiful benefit of it too that a lot of people don't realize. So all of these things are encompassed with healing. And I wanted to bring this video to your attention because not only do medicinal mushrooms help to heal and transform your life, and then also I have to say this too, is that they're really good for boosting the immune system. Now, if you're somebody that has an overactive immune system, it helps to bring it back into balance because it's an immunomodulator. So that's another wonderful thing, that when you're taking these beautiful medicinal mushrooms, that they help you so that you stay healthy. They help especially for anybody that suffers from long COVID or anything like that, that the mushrooms are one of the biggest and best healing staples that you can utilize to keep your immune system super strong and super healthy. So if I were to have lots of different diseases, is this something that I would still take? 100%. I absolutely just love it. I know so many people that have had different diseases and cancers that have been taking reishi or lion's mane or chaga or turkey tail and have seen just immense results in helping to reduce tumors or completely eradicate tumors or to heal their bodies on such big levels. Now, the other component is always looking within, because if we have a lot of held anger, hatred, resentment, jealousy, trauma, shame, all those things need to be worked on and released from the body as well, because we are a spiritual being before we are a physical being. So it's not just one modality. It's not like, oh, you're sick and you take this pill and then you're cured. It doesn't work that way. You know, a lot of us get sick because of the stress that we're going through, which is an emotion, or, you know, anger, hatred, you know, running our bodies down, not listening to what our bodies are saying. All of these things are key components as well. So the two things, medicinal mushrooms and living from the end, to manifest your body and to create your health is 100% possible. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, is helping people manifest their health through getting into that state of being, the state of being that they want to create for themselves, but also encompassing a whole other modalities that are going to help them get there. And so I hope this video has helped you. If you like this video, then you can like and subscribe. And I'm going to be doing some more, just so that I know that, you know, right now medicinal mushrooms is a big thing. And because I have had years of exposure with it, I want to bring more of this to your attention and to help you out. So if you have any questions on medicinal mushrooms, please leave me a message and I'd love to respond to you. I'll talk to you guys soon.